Well, hello friends. We are again here with a very wonderful topic. Generally, we are nowadays we all are in kind of different kinds of relationships, and we need to talk to people. And at the same time, we just want to leave some indelible impacts or indelible imprint on those people's memories. And therefore, when it comes to talking to these people, people want to be feel loved, cared
Hmm.
for, and here comes the role of the strategies which can help a person influence the people. And if they are in the business and they are dealing with the relationships, this is really very much important for a person to influence those people, so that both there is a win-win situation for both of them, right? So this is something which we are going to talk about today. And my friend sitting across is my friend, and who would be shedding some light on the same. And we both are very much willing to uh, go to the depths of the topic, so that we can come up with some good ideas which can be helpful to the people, right? So Robin, tell me, what do you think about what do you think that what are those three strategies which can help a person build a good repo, at the same time they are leaving an indelible impact on those people. And you will also be talking about the differences between manipulation and influence, because people will be getting confused. This can also be taken as manipulating other people, but there is a world of difference between influencing and manipulating people, right? So
Right.
first, you have to make it very clear what manipulation is and what influencing people is, so that people don't get confused
Hmm.
trying to while they're trying to differentiate these two terms. Over to you.
Right. Okay. Good evening, first of all, and what to say and how to start with. But I would love to say a few things on this. If you see this world right now, and in this world, when we try to throw our uh, glimpse on this all management of society, which is so perfectly organized, then we come across with many of those components which actually helps sustain this entire society right now. And when someone asks me, and when someone comes to me and asks me, what is there in the society which literally continues to support and bolster this society to flourish further, because as we see right now, the population is almost crossing 7.5 billion. So this is itself an achievement of humanity. Otherwise, we have seen many people species, they came to existence and thereafter they all went and turned annihilated, completely, turned extinct. So when we try to look into this, we come across with many of those things which we find are the true driving force of the society. Because society is not something which could be, self-regulated. So there has to be some important, or have to be some important rules and regulation and instructions which are basically driven by humans' mind, right? So when we talk about these driving forces, there are few things, which my mind strikes to, that one of those important thing is influence. I mean, uh, I mean, I don't know how many people take this word and as an experience personally, but I truly say this: it is just because of the influence. Many people, face and experience a transformational changes in them. It is also possible that they are adversely influenced. However, there is no a proper phrase named adversarial influence, because influence is itself a positive connotation. So
Yes.
therefore we always try to make a distinction between influence and manipulation. So we try to learn it separately, and that will be good and very facilitating for our audience, right?
Yes.
So, when we talk about influence and how it supports humanity, how it supports the entire society to thrive, this could be well understood when we meet with the people, some people who are so charismatic in their own way, and these peoples are like shining beacons. They actually lay down certain principles for others to follow. Some people are so much adamant in their own lifestyles that they come out and break the conventional thought process and the traditional practices, and they actually build up a new empire, a new rule of new guidebook for others to follow. These people are also called iconoclastic, and these things become, also a rule, a kind of for people to follow. So when we talk about influence, we try to know few things about it, and one of those few things is that when we try to define the word influence, then possibly the definition could be that one's ability to persuade someone
Persuade
into
somebody. Yes.
doing something, right? Into doing something in a sense which is important for the entire system. It is not just confined to one's personal benefit, and that what makes this influence more positive, which is so separated in its meaning with or from manipulation. So when someone comes out and influence, I mean, he's probably is taking care of or must be taking care of few things, which I call these three important components of this word entire practice of influence. And the first is transparency. So when a person comes out and influences people, then he always takes care about that the transparency to be maintained.
Yes.
Transparency is very important and a very essential component of influence if you are really trying to influence people. Why? Because transparency shows your true intention. So, until unless your true intentions are not manifested, demonstrated with actions, I really don't think people could be even influenced, right? Because everyone today is so attached to this global world and so much kind of, you can say, connected to the digital world where things are so easily served at the disposal. So, there is not at all a scope left for all these to be mugged off in any way or to be deceived, right? So therefore, until unless you come out with this kind of true intention, it's really impossible, to influence people. So this is one of the most important component if you are trying to practice influencing people, right? So be transparent, right? Second comes out in the same line as an important component of this, that the first, you are becoming not self you know interest, a kind of personality, or you can say you do care.
Self-centered.
Yes, self and you do care of other interests too. These good influential people whom we call true influencer are those who literally do care about other intentions. They do understand that they are there for them to make them understand some things, but also give them their freedom of choices. If you don't give them freedom of choices, and when you go on with this thrust of imposing your own beliefs on your own ideas on them, what happens eventually that it doesn't become it turns out to be a manipulation. So that's how you can make a distinction between manipulation and influence. When you do manipulation, you are actually not leaving any scope for a person as a freedom of choice. And this could be easily understood with a simple example. Have you ever seen any marketing mastermind when he knocks up a door, and when he comes out uh, to communicate with the owner of that house, how does he behave with that person? He actually, he's not there to influence that about the product that is to be sold. He's there to make him you can say believe, without leaving a chance of a scope of using personal freedom, that he has to buy this product at any cost. And what it takes to take this position, or to touch, or to maintain this position, that he goes to the extent, and then he sometimes starts deceiving. He uses those chickenery tricks to actually inveigle the person into something, into believing something which is not real at all. So here comes, almost altogether a different, rules and instructions and components which are actually guiding this, manipulation. And that's how this manipulation becomes so dominating. So it becomes so easy for people to make a distinction between manipulation and influence. Therefore I always say that when people trust his ideas and opinions on you, and to make you believe without giving you a chance to apply your reasoning, and expect from you that you should be coming into terms with it, then in this way you are only doing manipulation with the mind of other. This is not at all influence, because at that point of time a person is likely to lose few things. He's likely to lose, one, his freedom of choice, because he has not been given this scope, this particular choice. Secondly, he is also being deceived. However, if he is smarter enough to understand the cunning stunt of those of that market man, then he could probably protect himself, but rarely it is seen. But on the other side, when we see this entire uh, experiencing of influential talks, which is absolutely a kind of idyllic experience, like where someone is really being enthralled by the true expressions of the people, because that person really makes people feel uh, about something which could be held as trustworthy, right? So this is how we can define uh, you can say manipulation and influence. One more example I want to put it, so for the viewers to understand this, since we talked about manipulation with an example of a market man who comes out with a market strategy to just sell his product, to make him believe something which is not even right. On the other hand, if a teacher comes out in a class and influences his students about the importance of study, and by giving those relevant examples of what he has gone through, and after that he has reached to that point, he is not even imposing this idea, but in fact he is giving them choice to accept it or leave it. But at the same time he is serving it with such a degree of authenticity, then many people are likely to agree with that, and that is for the good, right? So that's how we have to understand this influence, and need to differentiate uh, from differentiated from manipulation. So be very careful with everything that is thrown to you, whether it's a word of influence or a manipulation, right? Over to you.
True, very true. And before I start asking you the very first question, which we just will be discussing about, right? The first thing you said is, very relevant. That whenever a person is trying to influence others, they have to maintain that they have to give the freedom to the other person. They don't have to impose themselves and their thoughts and their beliefs on others. At the same time, we have to be very, very, I would say, we have to be authentic. We have to maintain the authenticity. Otherwise, you should not be wearing many masks. People will then get to know about it that this is not at all, they're not actually doing good to others. They're actually manipulating us. People are not, the people cannot be fooled all the time. I'm reminded of that Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's quote. He says that he can fool one person one time, he can fool them the second time as well, but it is going to be impossible for you to fool the person all the time. Always. You cannot always fool them because then they get to know the reality. I'm reminded of an incident which happened to me while I was studying. So, as I've never been very much into government jobs, so my parents would always say that you should be going for government jobs. And then I was given a little bit of freedom that they said that if you want to do something, then okay, but we don't want you to let us down.
Right.
Right. So, and then it was my responsibility to come up to their expectations. I mean, I need to build that trust. And well, you are influencing, trying to influence people. it is the very, 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 I would say, valuable quality that you have to maintain that authenticity, and at the same time, you have to build trust, and trust cannot be built in a matter of days or a matter of months. It takes a long time for a person to build the trust. So people who are actually influencers, or those who are trying to influence people, always maintain this particular quality that is called authenticity, and they always deliver on their promises, right?
Right.
And they come up to the people's expectations as well. So the first thing we are going to discuss is, tell me how important it is to build emotional connections with people when it comes to influencing them, because without establishing this emotional connect with them, I think all the efforts which a person is trying to make will go in vain, because we all are humans are emotional beings, and if you want to influence them, if you want to build trust, especially among people, then you have to establish this emotional connect with them.
Right.
Otherwise all your efforts will go down the toilet, right?
Right.
So now we are going to discuss how important it is to build emotional connections, and what are the ways to strengthen those emotional connections with people, or those emotional connects with people.
Okay. I mean, this is particularly very uh, interesting because when we talk about emotional connect, and then few things that we are reminded of. For example, what are those things which often play a very regulating role in actually holding a connection between people, right? So if you throw some allurement to people, probably people will try to get attached with you, right? For their self interest, because you have something to give to them, right? So this is one way, as a bridge which you are establishing between the two. Other possible ways where you are very powerful and you hold some authority in a society, people would definitely be connected to you, right? I'm not talking about emotional connect as could be experienced in these cases. What people at least be in their own mode of pretense would try to be attached to you, and they will even always, I mean, be very much compliant to your instructions. But apart from this, there is one more connect, which is, I think, very stronger connect, which is called emotional connect. That's what you say.
Yes.
Even when people are not physically connected, but there is something which is giving them their soul to soul connect, and that is, you can call an emotional connect, which is also today is studied through emotional intelligence, right?
Yes.
So when we talk about emotional connect, and in the context of how we could hold a good relationship with people, and with the help of it, how many peoples could be even influenced by our this practice of emotional practice or emotional connectivity with the people. See, emotional connect is something much like your attitude of empathy that you put uh, and on display, and then you show that you are equally concerned and worried about the state of a person, and that is how the person comes into talks. So initially we were talking about trust building up is something possible when you have something to give to people, right?
Yes.
And that people must be in agreement, people must be taking it with all sincerity. Otherwise there are business taking place across the globe, and all of them are happening almost on the point of diplomacy. There is nothing more than that, there is nothing less than this. But when it comes to emotional connect, you actually find someone to be closer to you, as someone is living in your vicinity, on whom you literally could throw all your trust. And in this way, when you maintain this relationship, your single word creates a magnanimous impact on the mind of a person. Because when you build, may or enjoy this relationship, You are actually ensuring few things. And first is that you are there for him, and you are not doing as something which is called a self interest practice, right? Many people come out with their hoodwinks in this society to make people you feel that they are with them, but they are going there just to meet with their own profits, as what happens, right? So when you make this relationship with the people with the help of this emotional connect, I find people become so much close to you. I mean, we sometimes watch many videos, and you can generally experience these through any TED talks. Why these TED talkers are so much influential? So when you try to find out all those important components, you will find that their emotional connectivity is so strong with the people. But when you try to know further in this, then you understand that they are very much expressive in
Yes.
connecting with the people by showing such instances which are so relatable. So what happens when you are throwing your ideas to people with an intention that you could anyhow influence the people, and then you come out with this kind of examples or some sort of offhand preparations, which actually makes people believe that you are one of those, means you are almost equal standing on the same page, right? So that's how this emotional connectivity really works in the field of communication. Have you ever, I mean, we might have experienced this very kind of uh, uh, experience. So what was that when there was an announcement or a declaration made by our honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi,
Mm.
that all rich people, whosoever are willing to give away their subsidy for all those poor people
Yes.
who are unable to maintain their CNG, and
Mm-hmm.
it will be
Yes.
really good, and it will be really helpful or financial help for millions and millions of poor people living in the remotest part of this country. Now he just made us very soft declaration. There was no thrust as manifested through his words. There was no compulsion through his words. There was no such of force as it was applied. He, being a prime minister, even held that authority to even go up with this kind of strict principles that all need to be imposed on all rich people, and these rich peoples would be liable to pay their some part of their interest or benefit in this way, in the name of giving away, right?
Yes.
But see how all rich people, and in fact, many people in the category who really were almost happy with this kind of idea to give away their subsidy, are those who were living under middle class family, right? So that was the impact of those few words. So that's how the way these words were spoken, the way it actually hit to the mind of the people in that way, that they started agreeing everything cordially happened. There was no sort of conflict, verbal altercations, but things went so smoothly. This is called this is called emotional connect. Therefore it is always expected an influencer needs to be well skilled and conversant in emotional intelligence. So it is not sufficient that you know about your needs, your personal likings and dislikings. It is also important that you should know the same thing of others, and that's how you create this kind of emotional connect as a bridge between, and everything that you speak becomes instruction for the person to follow. However, there are very less number of people on this planet who actually enjoy this kind of reputation with that amount of popularity. But yes, we do have such people. I mean, Nelson Mandela was one among those.
Yes.
Mahatma Gandhi was also counted in that field. He was almost, I mean, living his life in that degree of destituteness, which also gave that a reflection to the poor segment of people. That if this being a leader could live his life wearing or being half naked, then why we should not follow him? So in some or other way, these big people who are really influential mindsets, these people, try to connect with the people mindsets by approaching them in their own way, so that there should not be gap between the two. So they are very much kind of expert in reducing gaps of haves and have nots, rich and poor.
Yeah.
So that is what is a very uh, very striking part of this emotional connect or emotional intelligence. Over to you.
It means the people who are influencers, they have one thing in common, that they have got common touch.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, whenever they means wherever they go and whoever they meet, they always express their empathy towards these people. So before we jump to the next question, I would like you to tell me the components which lay the foundation of emotional connect with people. What are the components which lay down the foundation of emotional connect? I mean, what can be there which together lay down this or lay this foundation of emotional connect? I think empathy is there,
Yeah, yeah.
building trust is also there,
Yeah,
and
loyalty.
loyalty is also there,
Yeah,
authenticity is also there, right?
authenticity.
So all these things together help a person establish a strong emotional connect with other people, right? So can you tell me how can a person uh, uh, can connect with the people very strongly, especially by showing their empathy? How can a person show their empathy towards other people? Because sometimes people find it difficult to become very empathetic to, I mean, it's very empathetic towards people. This doesn't come naturally to them. So how can people become very, very empathetic towards the people, other people?
Okay, I mean, in this world, when everything has become so much commercial, then it is also very essential that some or other way we have to, find ways around with which we really could say that these relationships are based on pure values, and there is no touch of commercial benefits at all. However, it cannot be, rightly, rejected that these relations are very rare, and these instances for the purpose of self experiences are also rare. But at the same times, when we find certain cases where we try to, understand how those big, people whom we call real success, achieved that point of their life, and what makes these people so popular that even a person sitting right in the corner of this planet is uh, is very well aware of this man whom we call a big success. So there must be something in him which really attracts and which actually makes him so arresting, right? So when we talk about this, we come to the conclusion that there is one kind of trait which most of the successful influential carry always with them, is that they do have their strong empathetic mode. And how they display this, they have their own ways. Some people come out with the utmost display of loyalty in them towards other. I mean, for example, if a person comes out selling about his own products, but at the same time it is also revealed out that this man who is selling his own product is also uh, using the same products, and make his all family members and relatives to use those products. In this way, he's actually showing a kind of loyalty with the people's emotion.
Yeah.
But these business which you call just a business tricks, and this is just for the benefit of only one person, and it is only going to be helpful in the form of monetary to only one person or one family, then at least it is not. And that's how these big business minds and big people, those who have this very element of empathy in them, they often demonstrate such skills. Most of the time, many big, for example, you might have heard that incident about Sachin Tendulkar when he was approached for one advertisement which was of a tobacco nature,
Yeah, he
and,
refused. He
and he
turned it
refused
down.
he refused to that,
Yeah.
just because of he had commitment with his past or late father, that he
Yeah.
won't do any such things which goes against the value of sportsmanship, right? And thereafter he rejected the proposal of crores of rupees. Now he rejected the proposal of crores of rupees is one thing, but the kind of accolades, the kind of encomiasms, that he earned from across the globe was so much kind of magnanimous in its degree, that every person knows about it, and therefore we call him not just a master player for what he did to the country, but as well as he's a good sportsman who
Yeah.
also, he also went along with the real values, right?
He is also known that he has never been in the news for things which are not supposed to be coming from him. He has
Absolutely.
maintained that dignity. He has always maintained that.
And on the other side, when we see millennium actors such as Amitabh Bachchan coming out with an advertisement of Maggie, which is pretty much harmful for health. And in fact, even doctors go on to this suggestion that it's not consumable because it's not good for health if it is, consumed for, it's consumed in an accessible amount, right?
Yeah.
However, these products are very sellable, and they actually are um, almost the valid products, because they actually underwent a lot of, uh, almost a kind of checks and authenticity of the product, right? So, but still, something which is not good. I mean, burger, pizzas, these all are not good for health. But when some actors comes out and do endorse, so they are losing their credibility in somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is no loyalty at all, right? So this loyalty is one thing which makes people, give them a strong connect with the people, and in this way, people find them empathetic. Moreover, when you come out with the stories, have you ever heard those influencers? Specifically, I've experienced this with most of the TED talks. These people have some relatable stories, and these relatable stories are so much kind of you can say a very similar in a nature, where a party or a subject in this case has undergone with this very tormentized kind of uh, you can say phase of life, and thereafter he finally got success, right?
Yeah.
It gives them a relatable connect to the
Mm-hmm.
audience,
Yeah.
and it shows that they are all somewhere connected. So this is how the empathy works in this way. So these are the things which may give people, a strong, stronger, empathy connect to the people. And I think when you have this ability, but make sure, I always, always say one thing: when you come out with, pretension, which is not real you, it could easily be judged out, and thereafter your credibility will go forever. Means you're not going to be, appreciated, or you're not going to be, listened for the next time, because when you deceive people for your own benefits, and you just fabricate stories for your own benefits, some or other day you are going to be caught red handed, and your entire value, your own entire credibility, what you have learned in the name of goodwill, just goes completely vanished, right? So make sure that you may you when you influence people, or when you connect with the people, you come out with the natural connect with the people, and in this way you can really hold a good relationship with the people with the help of this just empathy showing to the people. Over to you.
And this is authenticity and the loyalty is the part and parcel of the leaders.
Right.
I'm reminded of a quote said by Mahatma Gandhi that an ounce of practice is better than tons of preachings.
Right, right.
So whatever you say you have to follow that yourself. You cannot just be telling people and then expecting yourself to be doing something else, right? Because this will contribute to your loss of popularity, and people will stop trusting you because you say something and you do something else. right?
Right.
Next strategy, which is actually reciprocity, especially in the relationships or in the business relations as well. Reciprocity is the very important part of maintaining or trying to influence people. If you want to influence people, then you have to dip, or you can say you have to employ this particular quality in yourself if you are willing to influence people and become influential. So this is something which we are going to discuss now. Tell me how reciprocity is going to contribute to yours being influential in terms of influencing people.
Okay, I will start with one of my examples, and that was personally experienced, and I think that will be the easiest way to explain this very part of the questions, right? When I was doing a job in 2010 and 11 in Genpact, multinational company,
Yeah.
and I was in such an ambience where I had some team leaders on me who were like an instructor holder. So they were all instructors, right? So they would give us instructions and then we would follow them, and things went in that way, right? And on the other hand, there were also some departments where there were also leaders for different kind of processes taking place in the same department, right? So what I found then, but I realized it few years back, those leaders who didn't have this ability to do reciprocity, reciprocity in a sense that when you handle a big number of people as your subordinates, I won't use the word subordinate, but since it's a term that we use it because there has to be some hierarchy to be maintained in offices. When you handle this kind of you know uh, position as an authority, you have to come out with certain kind of certain kind of positive attitude towards your juniors who have just joined the company and who have literally not found themselves to be well settled up in the jobs. Many employees really find it so hard to cope with this business kind of things, is because of they really don't find big mentors for them, especially in the same office. So when I tried to analyze this further into knowing what makes one company so profitable than others, then I came to this conclusion that leaders who really don't have this power of reciprocity or doing reciprocity, in a sense that they are maintaining a give and take relationship,
Yeah.
that and by putting aside their own personal ego just for the betterment of the entire business, I mean, there is a probability that the business is likely to thrive in the next few months or years. Secondly, I mean, it is also said that those who are cooperative in nature and who really know how to handle the business by throwing all the ego aside are the one can be called the best leader, right? So therefore, this particular trait in many people, many leaders, what made them little different from others. Many new employed you know uh, people really find it hard to even share those kind of problems that they come across in the working offices and the platforms, right, workplaces. And what makes it further worse is that when they go unheard, so
Yes.
there is not even a proper management between the people, because when you are working for a company, you have to work together because you are all doing things for the same objective. And when there is an incorporation held among them, then there is a situation which is likely to exist in months or years, that the overall productivity of a company would definitely go down. So this reciprocity is really important to be maintained as a part of skill, as a piece of skill in one's attitude, and that has to be forwarded and discharged right from the superior authority to the lower authority. Lower authority, why I'm saying this, because my personal experience says that the lower authority is the one who is almost at a junction where he or she is not having that gumption or audacity to come out bluntly and say something to someone who holds position at the hierarchy level or the highest level, right? So therefore, the hand must be extended right from the superior authority to the lower authority, just for one reason or one particular objective, that the good relation should be maintained or could be maintained, because after all, the the end result must be in favor of the institution or the working place where people are working. Right, over to you.
And once a person is endowed with these qualities, like they are empathetic towards people, they are loyal to people, they're maintaining the credibility as well, they're being loyal to people. One more thing comes into play, and that is a third strategy to become influential, to influence people, and that is to be doing things, to be working with people without being arrogant. They have
Right,
confidence, but they're not being arrogant. So, because it's been seen in many situations, especially people who are senior to others, they generally always boss their juniors around, right?
right.
So, this is somewhere going to cost you very dear. If a person who's willing to be very influential, this is going to be very dear to them, right? So, tell me, how can a person become very humble? And humble, I would say, they are confident, but at the same time, they are not being arrogant with the people, because somewhere and this will disenchant the people. They will not be actually liking the person, and the person who is a leader and who is going to be, or who is willing to influential, must be having that charismatic personality. And this is only possible when a person is not very arrogant, because
Hmm.
arrogance takes that charisma away from
Hmm.
a charismatic leader, right? So this is what you will be talking about. So how can a person maintain that simplicity, and but at the same time they're confident but without arrogance?
Okay, I believe, I mean, some part or some aspects in human life, as one of those is that maintaining humility is totally dependent on you as a product of your overall bringing up. So therefore, s- some techniques cannot be taught. People could not be skilled, in all possible things, and specifically those few things which are based on your overall personal values, that you know put yourself in the mode of complying towards. Because many people right now, have their bringing up in a way where we see that they are so much materialistic. So for them, you know relationship with the people is no less than a business. For them, values, for them, uh, you know empathy, concerns for others are like mere diplomatic tools, which they manipulate uh, with, according to their personal benefits, right? But one who is really grounded, and this is what he has learned right from his or her childhood. Maybe their parents are so much inclined towards this conventional bringing up, where children's are led undergone a kind of lifestyle where they are made aware of all those other aspects of human life, which includes your true values, as well as your moral values, as well as your overall attitudes that you must carry out when you meet with someone. So these are the things which are only possible in those people who are really bound to follow that, not forcefully, at or under duress or at a gunpoint, but willingly, for their own volition. And in this way, these people, become Tata. Ratan Tata is one of those
Yeah.
strong examples we have today. I mean, he was an epitome of humility, right?
Yes.
Because the way he lived his life, moreover, his overall concerns towards the people. In fact, his compassion and kindness was not limited to people. it was extended further to animal. So he was a big lover, or a strong lover of, a great lover of pets, including dogs, right? It is one of those stories I heard. It's just so mesmerizing, where he was awarded, where he was to be awarded in some sort of, some palace in England, but he refused to join that just because of one of his dogs was suffering from some ailment. So when he got a call from the King of England, Buckingham Palace, he was to be awarded there.
Mm.
I heard that story. Then I really got shocked. I mean, look at the level of compassion, the kind of humility.
Yes.
He really was, he was really,
Unparalleled.
it
Unparalleled.
was it was absolutely unparalleled, right? So I mean, these things are truly very natural, but yes, people who really want to practice it could cultivate in their attitude by really giving themselves a good connection, a connection of unity, as we have discussed in the previous video. So with the help of our routine practice of how we could be more conscious and how we could be get united with the universe, once you get united with the universe, you automatically get connected with each and every being. So when
Yeah.
you have this feeling of unity, you start becoming compassionate for the people around you. So something needs to be done from the guideline of spirituality rather than materialistic forces and disciplinary systems. In this way, I think one could really achieve this humility nature and could really carry out their businesses, okay, so successfully. Over to you.
Yes, so it means if a person who is a bossy nature, if a person who is not at all caring, right,
Mm.
a person who is always having his own way, and they're thinking that they can influence people, this is I think bang goes their chances of becoming influential. This is
Right.
not at all possible. And people always, no matter at the end of the day, people always love those people who are always there for them, who are showing care, who are showing love, and who are showing compassion for those people. And at the same time, they are coming up to their expectations. The people who are very trustworthy, people who are building credibility as well, and the people who are we talked about all these strategies. First one was that if we fail to establish emotional connect, then we can never ever be
Right.
able to influence people. So we have to learn to establish emotional connect. The second one was that we should always be ready to do the things for others. I mean, you cannot always have the things, you have to sacrifice at times, and there comes this strategy called reciprocity. So you
Right.
always have to be ready for sacrificing when it comes to be sacrificed. And the third
Right.
thing is that you will always be showing that you are confident, but you are maintaining that humility, and you are not showing that arrogance which a person may likely to show. So
Right.
if a person follows all these, if the person applies these values in their lives, and perhaps they will definitely become very influential, and people would love to be around them. And this is going to be a win-win situation for all of us, and all of the people who they are willing to be around, right? So this is something which we wanted to talk in this show. We will come with a new topic for discussion, which is going to add value to people's lives. And we don't just talk about whatever is written in the books. We always talk about the things which we have experienced in our personal lives, and something which is very practical, and something which is felt by people.
Yeah.
So we always talk about the things which are practical, and which can be followed actually, which can be practiced actually. So I'll see you in the next video, and the next video will always be whatever the videos we put in are always going to be very informative and full of knowledge, right?
Right.
So I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.
Good night. Bye bye.